Yep. You got both guys 29 years old, 5'7". You know, Sergey, a little bit shorter fighter. He has also, you know, he got the 2-inch reach on him, 2.5-inch reach. You know, I think it's going to work for him.
A night that ends with Alexander Berto begins as always with the great Ray Flores.
The action begins with 10 rounds in the welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he comes in wearing the blue with the silver. His professional record, 20 victories, 8 of those coming by way of knockout against 5 losses. Fighting out of Manabi, Ecuador. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Erick Bone. And across the ring, his opponent fighting out of the blue corner. He comes in wearing the black with the gold trim. As a professional, his record is near perfect. 13 wins, 10 of those coming by way of knockout against 1 loss. Fighting out of Moscow, Russia. Ladies and gentlemen, Dami Gospoda, here is Sergey the Samurai Lipinets.
One guy, give me one. Good evening, gentlemen. We went over the rules in the locker room. Obey my commands. Protect yourselves at all times. Touch them up. Good luck to both of you. This is good. The belt line will be good. Thank you. Good luck. Good luck.
Lipinets, an unusual story. Only his 15th pro fight, but already has been a world champion. And his last fight was obviously with Mikey Garcia, who was kind of the talk of the boxing world this past week. Erick Bone, his opponent tonight, has had some interesting moments. He is on a 4-fight winning streak following losing 4 in a row after a huge step up in competition, which included the fight he took on 36 hours notice a few years ago. Said, hey, I don't mind taking a fight on 36 hours notice, but I walked the aisle, I got in the ring, and I saw Sean Porter on the other side, and that's the first time I got nervous.
Yeah, it's good for him. This is a good fight for him because he's been training. He's been in camp. He knows who he's getting ready for. And I think he's ready for this. He said he's feeling very confident, which is something he lacked against me. So we're looking to see him try to box Sergio today and keep him at the end of his punches.
Robert, I'm interested to see you watch Lipinets here because this is a stalker. He walks guys down, very cold, very aggressive.
Oh yeah, he does a tremendous body attack also. You know, they come out, you know, with an extended amount of amateur fights, so it's like almost they're professionals already. That's why they're able to get into these title fights really quick, you know, with a limited of fights.
What makes Lipinets so unusual, he is 29 years old. He is not a young fighter, but he is young in boxing because he came from kickboxing where he had, wait for it, 350 amateur fights.
I tried to make sure he was speaking English when he said 300. I couldn't believe it. Both these guys, it's just a filling out round. It's the first round, you know. We as fans have to be patient, just like they're being patient in the ring, looking to see what each other wants to do.
You're absolutely right, Sean. That's the most dangerous round, you know, being a fighter, you know, it's the first 2-3 rounds.
Definitely.
You want to make sure you warm up and get in there and, you know, break a good sweat.
Guys, talk to me about the step-up fight and the learning curve. Lipinets is coming off a fight with Mikey Garcia, and if what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, you may not get the win, but you're going to get an awful lot stronger.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, so, I mean, I think we should expect him to, in the later rounds, take care of Erick Bone. He's been in there with some of the best, one of the best, and even though he has limited experience, that kind of experience should put him levels ahead of Erick Bone, who is coming off of a 4-4 record as of right now.
Yeah, you look at Mikey Garcia. His fundamentals are just on point. You know, works behind a great jab. It makes it tough for a pressure fighter to come in, especially the distance Mikey Garcia puts, you know, behind his jab, and he sets his punches up. So, you know, it's always a tough fight when guys get in there with Mikey Garcia.
He had suffered his first career knockdown, flash knockdown early in that fight. And I asked him, what did you learn most of the Mikey Garcia fight? Didn't need an interpreter for that. Keep your hands up.
That's it, and you're seeing it right now. You know, he's keeping his hands up. There's more conventional punches coming from him as well. The jab, playing some good defense at the end.
Fourth member of our broadcast team tonight. Always delighted to say good evening to Jordan Hardy.
Sean, thank you. You know, Sergey Lipinets at just 14 professional fights has won and defended a world title. And as you guys mentioned in March, he lost it to Mikey Garcia, but surprisingly, he was not, you know, his experience was not broken. You know, he made sure that we understood that Garcia is the real deal, but Lipinets says he's hungrier than ever and hopes to get another title shot soon. And it has to start with a dominant performance over Erick Bone.
And what's interesting, Jordan, is his decision to move up to 147. Because it's almost like, okay, I just fought Mikey Garcia. That's about as tough a fight as you can have. How can I make my life more difficult? Oh, I don't know. Let me move up into that craziness that is 147 right now.
Yeah, well, you got to look at also, too, he might have been having weight issues. You know, that could have been the reasoning of the move also. You know, when he fought Mikey Garcia, you know, he put up a really tough fight. He was, you know, throughout the whole fight, he was on Mikey Garcia. Mikey really had to work for that win.
Lipinets won a lot of fans that night. Knocked down early, and obviously wasn't ready to match Mikey Garcia, who is, as everybody knows now, at the top of his game right now.
I like what Erick Bone is doing. He's moving. Yep. He's not staying stationary for Lipinets. I like to see him do what he's doing right now, use more offense.
It was a combination about midway through the first round that kind of pushed Lipinets backwards and gave Erick Bone a lot of confidence, and he's picked up here with that in round 2.
Yeah, he's fighting a really smart fight, working behind his jab, keeping his distance. Probably took a page out of Mikey Garcia's, but, you know, keep that distance, work behind your jab, and learn to pick your shots.
Erick Bone did not make much pretense about his concern for the power of Lipinets and talking about how he was going to fight. His last fight with Cameron Crowley, he said he really had to go for it, and he was just sort of less concerned, but here he's going to be a lot more careful with Lipinets, who has those 10 knockouts and the 13 wins.
That's a good attack right there. He went to the body, he stayed close, down on the end where he could be countered by Sergey Lipinets. I think, personally, both guys are fighting pretty well so far. You see the aggressive attack from Lipinets, a little more offense from him as well. I would like to see, and then also Erick Bone as well, just stepping around, trying to manage the ring and manage the fight.
The one thing I like about what Bone is doing, he's staying real relaxed and calm. You know, not letting the pressure get to him. And he's picking his spots at the right time, and he's moving.
Lipinets came out and tried to walk him down like he always does the first minute or two, but that combination midway through round 1 really did change everything. Another thing to watch for with Lipinets, one of the things they're still concerned about, even though he's already been a world champion, with all the kickboxing background, if you're familiar with kickboxing at all, you're coming completely different off your back foot. And there are times, instinctively, in the middle of a fight, he wants to come off that back foot.
Yeah, and also, too, when you look, he pushes off that heel, so it makes you not as springy to get in.
Yeah, my dad would be cussing him out.
Well, that doesn't take much. I mean, we know that. Strong round 2 for Erick Bone. Erick Bone from Ecuador. Great source of pride for him. That country which does not have a great athletic background, and one that certainly that Russia does. I bet you guys don't know the only sport that there's ever been Olympic medals for Ecuador.
Don't tell me it's cool.
Race walking.
Race walking?
Race walking. Wow. So we'll learn some stuff tonight, too. We can learn one thing every night.
Well, if he stays calm tonight and race walks, you know,
yeah,
maybe he might race walk to victory if he works behind that jab.
Well, it's funny because we were talking about footwork and kickboxing, and race walking is all about making sure your back heel, I don't know the intricacies of it, but your back heel has to stay down. It looks very awkward, which Lipinets can be at times. That's why he's more comfortable just being the bully, and you see more of that here starting round 3.
Flat-footed a lot, so you know when you circle the right way, if he circles to the left, you know he'll be off balance a bit. So you know that can help him set up shots also.
Yeah, I was saying before break, but my dad would be cussing him out coming back to the corner if it was me and he saw my foot turn the way it was and so flat. But when you have so much power, as such as Sergey Lipinets, you can push off of your back foot that way and still generate the kind of power that you need to deliver the blows that he delivers throughout the fight. I think at this point now he's going to start to get a little impatient. He's going to really start to push forward on Erick Bone.
The lateral movement of Lipinets cutting guys off, that has been a signature for him in the early part of his career. He wants to fight where he wants it.
Yeah, and the one thing with him being flat-footed, he really plants his feet to land big shots.
That's the problem with being a flat-footed fighter. You need someone there to exchange with you in order for you to land punches. Unless you're able to do what Sergey Lipinets does, which is try to cut off the range, which he's doing pretty well so far, and really back a guy up against the ropes. There you go, right there in the middle of the ring. Erick Bone will be effective if he punches and then moves.
It's out.
Yep, he's got to get in and get out.
You can get in against Lipinets, but can you get out is the question.
Yeah, Erick Bone needs to work behind that jab a lot more.
And I've seen it before. I saw it when I fought him. You know, he has a good jab. I think it's up to him to make that change now and start to pop that jab a little bit more from the outside. Give him a different look and see if he creates something else from the jab.
We always talk about short notice fights as being a huge burden on the guy who gets that late call, but it becomes a short notice fight for you too.
It was. I was confused. Didn't know what I was getting myself into, and anyone that saw the fight, the first 3 rounds were competitive, and I started to take over, but that was because I was prepared for the fight, prepared to go those rounds. I think maybe the 5th round was when it ended.
Was your father cursing at you that night?
Say that again?
Was your father cursing at you that night?
A little bit. We were talking about Sergey Lipinets' feet. If you look at it right now, we get a good look at it. He's not able to spring off of that back foot because it's so flat and turns to the right. Erick Bone is able to punch and move, and right now Sergey is just a step behind him, and one reason for that is because he's not able to push off of that back foot.
So what's the answer?
The answer is slow him down. He's got to slow down Erick Bone. He's got to go to the body, and he's got to be a little bit more aggressive from the outside with punches coming in. He's got to make Erick Bone think right now. Right now, Erick Bone is able to walk around the ring comfortably, and he doesn't need Erick Bone to be comfortable. He needs to get him comfortable.
Yeah, if he starts putting a jab right in front like that and fast pressure, then it'll make it difficult for Erick Bone.
They're fighting a smart veteran fight, combinations in and out.
And even that, he's got a little bounce right there. That little bounce will give him the spring that he needs. You know, we talk about the foot being flat, the foot being turned. It's not exactly correct, but it's not always wrong if you're able to do other things with it, like he is able to kind of get on a little bit of a bounce, which will give him a little bit more of a spring to get forward.
Robert, what are you telling Lipinets now?
I'm telling him to get on his toes a little bit more. I'll get some more rhythm, a little bit of side-to-side movement, work behind the jab, and put that fast pressure.
As he moves up, he's going to continue to face guys like this that are tougher to hit and tougher to catch. We know if he gets you, he's going to get you.
Yeah, Lipinets has a vicious body attack, so I think he should do that a lot more. So, he needs to slow Erick Bone down because Bone has really good feet. He moves really good. He's really elusive in the ring, and that's what's giving him a bit of trouble.
That's one thing I like about Bone right now. He's changing his dimensions. He's up, he's down, he's left, he's right, he's in, he's out. Right now, he's doing things that are making Sergey Lipinets uncomfortable, making him second guess himself. And on top of everything else, he's not allowing Lipinets to get on him.
Yeah, and the one thing Bone's doing great also too is he's making little subtle moves, not big crazy moves, not running around, burning a lot of energy. He's making tight little turns, giving him angles. And when you give a guy angles like Bone, who's flat-footed, it gives him just enough trouble to keep him off of you.
I agree 100%. That's the first thing I noticed in the very first round. I could tell by the way he was moving around the ring, Erick Bone, that he was calm, that he was into himself and comfortable and confident in what he wanted to do. And it's carried him through now to the 4th round.
Erick Bone, we were talking to him about the confidence that he gained in that tough 4-fight losing streak. And he said, what else helped me is train with Adrian Broner for a while. I said, if you're going to learn about confidence from somebody, you're going to get some hanging around Adrian Broner. Well, he talked about how important that was. You have to believe, have faith, and faith will be given to you.
I agree with that 100%.
It has paid off big for Erick Bone. This has been a very strong start to this fight for the veteran. So far, guys, Erick Bone is checking a lot of boxes here with what he wants to do.
I think he is. Right now, he's able to get in and get out on Lipinets. He's able to kind of turn him and move. Lipinets gets on him, but not for very long before Erick Bone says, you know, I've had enough, and he gets out and moves, and then he's back on his offense.
Yeah, you also got to look at it too. You know, with Erick Bone, he's a 147-pounder, and Lipinets coming up in weight. So you know, there's a little more pop on the punch there. So you know, you being in with Bone, you should know how, you know, what kind of power does he got, or.
I do. I remember he had pop. He was someone who maybe he fought me a little scared, but the punches that he did hit me with, I did feel. And I think, you know, just over the course of his career now, we can see it's evident that he's gathered up a lot of confidence, and he has brung it into the ring with himself tonight.
Oh yeah, you know, having the experience in there with you know, you have those quick feet. You put that pressure. You hit different angles, and you throw a variety of punches and bunches, and with power. So you know, that experience coming in here, you know, is going to help him out a lot with Lipinets.
I just got hit with a bunch of sweat. That was nasty.
Yeah, I got hit with that too.
But that means somebody's doing something right?
Yep.
Lipinets with a big overhand right there.
I would think you guys would be used to that. I mean, you've been through worse.
It's a pet peeve. It's a pet peeve.
Seemed to be more occupational hazard to me. Lipinets coming more straightforward, guys, here to start round 5. Obviously, he took some advice as well.
And Erick Bone is starting to slow down.
Yep.
The good part about it is it's just little subtle turns, and he's able to make Sergey miss. How long can he keep that up?
Stay right there, don't move.
I like those little feints he's doing also.
There you go, good job.
There's one of those little feints while Lipinets is coming in. You know, if you fire a jab off of those and feint, get a little more movement, you know, and not abandon the jab, you know, it'll help him out. Once you start abandoning your jab against a pressure fighter, then he's able to walk in.
Instead, it's Lipinets who's used that left jab more in this round.
Yes, and if you look at it, he uses it to the body also.
Yes, that's what he wants to do. He's using the left jab to set up the body to try to slow Bone down.
You know, it's not a predictable jab. It's one to the body, to the head, back down to the body. So, you know, it makes you think a little more, you know, what's coming at you.
I don't consider Lipinets a finished product by any stretch of the imagination. Good left hook. They had enough confidence to put him in there with Mikey Garcia in his 14th fight. Once you're up at that level, you're up at this level, and he's going to have to figure guys out, veterans like Bone.
This is a much better round for Sergey Lipinets as well. I saw the jab land, you know, still missing with some hooks, but he's getting much closer, and I think Erick Bone is starting to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, anytime he gets that little bounce on his toes, he's able to make ground and get on the inside and land.
Strong start to round 5 for Erick Bone. The overhand right, Sergey Lipinets starting to assert his will more and more. Erick Bone, it seemed, you guys almost had the perfect game plan coming out. Does he have 10 rounds in him at that energy level to stay away from Lipinets?
Good fight so far for Bone, and a good fight for Sergey Lipinets as well. But I think that Bone's game plan, even though it may not be winning him the fight, it has certainly won him some rounds, kept Sergey Lipinets off of him, and also created his offense. Look at that right there. Very subtle moves. And just that one subtle turn will stop your opponent from even attempting to do the offensive move that they thought that they saw. You know? So.
Also, too, those subtle feints he does little feints here and there. You know, he steps, you know, he throws a fake punch out there. You know, that's what freezes up another pressure fighter also.
Keep touching him right there. There we go.
Good straight 1-2 right there.
Right back.
He's trying to find a home for that right hook. He's trying to time Bone, but you said, guys, with the feints, it's been very difficult.
It's hard. That's what the feint is for. A feint freezes your opponent, A feint will make your opponent use his defense when he doesn't need to. A feint will stop your opponent from using the jab that he thought he was going to use. You know, the feint is used for more than just keeping the guy off of you. It's used as defense and it's also used as offense.
It can freeze you also, you know, to flinch or try to block it and then you fire your shot.
Big overhand right.
One of the best shots of the fight.
He's trying to slow him down with that jab to the body.
Yeah.
That right hand seems to be there now. It's a looping punch, and it gets right behind Bonet's left hand, his jab hand, which we've seen three times consecutively.
When Bonet abandons the jab, that's when Lipinets is able to close that gap and land those big overhand rights, or the jab to the body also.
And we got to say this: through 6 rounds, Bonet hasn't used a consistent, fast, sharp jab. If he uses that now, that changes the whole dimension of the fight and will give Sergey Lipinets something else to worry about.
Yeah. You see him just right now, that moment, you know, he fired that jab to the body. Nice crisp one. You know, kind of froze Lipinets up a bit. So, you know, that's what he needs to do a lot more.
Yep, he's got to keep coming with those jabs. I think Sergey's figured out that overhand right's going to land. There you go. Every time they get close, he's going to let it go.
Ring getting a little smaller now for Erick Bone. It's not what he wants. Lipinets looking more confident as this fight goes on.
Yeah, Lipinets is closing that gap now, and you know he's able to throw those big shots. You know, those jabs to the body, those overhands are really starting to break him down.
Bone kept Lipinets at bay through the first 2 rounds, but there's the best shot of the fight. The overhand right. Sergey Lipinets, 10 knockouts in his 13 wins, and he is getting stronger as the fight goes longer. Sean, why is Erick Bone struggling more over the last couple of rounds?
Well, it's getting later in the fight. He's got to be ready for a 10-round fight. We will see if he's ready for that. Also, Sergey's starting to come on strong. And that's what you're supposed to see. At some point in the fight, you see one fighter take over. And not that Sergey Lipinets has taken over the fight, but we can see that he's a little bit more stronger through 7 rounds now than Erick Bone.
Yeah, he's closing that gap a little more every round and getting in with land big shots.
If you see now, every time Erick Bone turns, Sergey's right in front of him now. Right there, he threw a big right hand and he missed, but every time Erick Bone turns now, he's right there in front of him. He's got to let his hands go at this point. I think that's one thing that makes my aggression so hard to defend and so effective, because I'm right in front of you, but I'm right in front of you with my hands as well. You know, you can be aggressive, but if you're not aggressive with your hands as well as your feet, as well as stalking somebody, then it's ineffective aggression.
Yeah, you put that fast pressure, you know, on your toes, and as soon as you close that gap, you're firing away.
You got to fire away. I'm looking for that every time Sergey cuts off the ring. I'm looking for him to throw the punches, and he's got a big hook. He's got a big overhand right. The jab isn't there as much, but if he's able to, you know, put that overhand right and that left hook together in somewhat of more of a combination, he may get Erick Bone walking into something.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. He needs to put 2 or 3 punches together every time he gets in. You know, not just one big shot.
And everybody's not like that. I remember you were like that 26, 35, 147. You were always a combination puncher. Not everybody's a combination puncher, but usually the guys that are successful and aren't counter punchers or combination punchers are usually big punchers. So we can still look for Sergey to land one big shot in this fight.
Yep, that's the one factor he has in this, is that power to change the fight with one shot.
Good body shot. One shot with a very big effective punch.
Looks like Erick Bone got a little blood coming out of his nose.
He's too young to say vintage Lipinets, but when you watch his fights, when he built that 13-0 start, just stalking, side to side, flat-footed but lateral movement, pushing the fight where he wanted it, just wear guys down with his body shots. And it's starting to happen here. It started later in this fight, but it's starting to happen now.
He's getting closer and closer with that right hand, that overhand. He just landed one moments ago, right on the button.
Good left hook. Bone swinging and missing. Another strong round for Lipinets. 3-7. Jordan, what have they been telling Lipinets in the corner?
They've been letting him know that he needs to keep his hands up and cut the ring off because Buddy McGirt is feeling that he's letting Bone move around too much. And one thing, Sean and Robert, do you guys notice Lipinets, he's throwing each punch at the same speed and power. And Buddy McGirt noticed this as well. He said that he needs to switch up that rhythm because Bone knows what's coming.
Yeah, that's one of those things is when you throw the same speed, the same power, you get predictable. You know, you get a guy who like Erick Bone who can read that coming, you know, either check hook you know, work behind the jab, slip it, give him those little angles to give him trouble where that right hand's going to fly right by because he knows it's coming at the same time and the same speed.
And Buddy McGirt also said that they're not just fighting their opponent, they're also fighting experience. That's an experience thing right there. If you have experience, you understand that your opponent's not going to be there for every hard, heavy shot you throw. You have to change up the speed, change the direction, and throw the punch where the guy is going, not where they're at, which is why Sergey keeps coming up just short with every punch. Right now he's throwing the punch where Erick Bone is and not where he's going to be. Really hard to do. I hope I can make that sound easy. It's really hard to do.
Is that the kind of thing we're talking about when one guy's fought 14 times and the other's fought 25?
100%, 100%. You can see Erick Bone, he's still, even though he slowed down a little bit, he's still able to get out of the way. He's still able to turn, and Sergey is still just missing him, but starting to land some now through 8 rounds.
And he's doing just enough to get out of the way and miss that shot coming right by him.
Keep him up, keep him up.
And I think, you know, we've talked about what Sergey needs to do to win this fight, but we haven't really talked about what Erick Bone needs to do to win this fight. I haven't really scored this fight round for round. I would say through 8 rounds, it's a close fight, but I give the edge to Sergey Lipinets on account of his aggression, and he's able to land harder, cleaner shots than Erick Bone. I think Erick Bone needs to get out, use his jab, use his reach, and make it evident that he wants to win this fight.
Erick Bone has stayed safe, but he hasn't been aggressive enough to win a lot of these rounds.
Exactly, he's been very safe, which is not a bad thing, but at some point you got to take control.
Erick Bone needs to work behind the jab a lot more to set his punches up. You know, he's making angles just like that. He's making those moves, but he's not firing off of them. When you make a guy miss and you make your move, you got to make him pay. And when you don't make him pay, you know, you got Lipinets just coming in and putting that pressure and throwing big bombs.
The exchange of overhand rights that have missed throughout this fight, it reminds me of like a heavyweight fight. These guys are throwing that overhand right like it's the cleanup shot. They're both missing it.
Yeah, and there's bad intentions on those overhand rights too.
Here we go. We get a good clean jab right there from Sergey.
And into the body. The timing may not change, but the direction of those jabs has.
Hands up! Move your head!
And also, we've talked about the adjustment of Erick Bone, but how about this for Sergey Lipinets? Hasn't thrown any jabs throughout the fight, none that with the intention to land them. If he starts to really clean up and throw a sharp jab right now, he might actually land those jabs on account of Erick Bone not seeing that punch throughout this fight.
Yeah, or even double up the jab.
Double up.
Erick Bone, he has survived, but is he doing enough? We're through 8.
Be tired. Yes, sir. All right? Be tired. Come on, you work hard. Let's go. Ciao, keep.
Gotta go work the ranch.
I've seen you work to get ready for fight. I think that ranch is more work sometimes than getting ready for fight Floyd or something.
Yeah, baling hay gets you strong.
That's old school right there.
So we had a double jab right there, one to the head and then one to the body. Both of them landed. It's a punch that Erick Bone hasn't seen throughout this fight, so it's a punch that will be effective at this point.
Yeah, That's that double jab we talked about.
Yep, basic punch, but it's right there for him.
Buddy McGirt must be getting through to him, change the jab, directions, top, bottom.
Shot from Bone. If you're under the age of 30, you have no idea what a phone booth is, but I can tell you if you're over the age of 30 and do remember that, that's where Sergey wants to fight. He's perfectly comfortable in a very small, confined space.
Impressive that Erick Bone is not giving him that. I think we all came here tonight with the understanding that he was going to try to put Erick Bone in the phone booth, but it hasn't happened yet. Keyword, yet.
One of Bone's, that's his best shot in 3 or 4 rounds. In what is a very close fight, it is there for both these guys.
Yeah, that goes back to what I was saying. You make your move, you make him pay. He made a little sidestep and he landed his 1-2. A nice crisp jab and that overhand.
That could be an adjustment made in the corner as well, which is good testament to his team. And now he's turning and then he's throwing right after he turns, which was something he should have done 3, 4, 5 rounds ago.
He's out.
That was a nice stiff jab by Lipinets.
That jab, there it is.
Go over there, Sergey.
It's kind of like a half hook, half jab.
Mouthpiece, go over there. No coaching, just wash it off.
My dad has coached me this before too.
Okay.
So sometimes you will win a fight with just a jab. It all depends on who the fighter is and what you need to do to win that fight. This fight right here, you can't get your guy on the ropes. You can't put him in that phone booth. Or that basic punch, or that jab. That's the #1 punch you learn in boxing.
Yeah, that jab, working on those fundamentals of boxing. A lot of people shy away from them.
I love my jab.
You probably started pretty young with that jab.
Yeah. I think I learned my jab when he was learning his kick. So.
Yeah, the problem with me is when I would use my jab and I'll box on the outside, halfway through the fight I'll start getting bored because the fight will be so easy, and then I want to go in there and just fight.
And that's what Sergey is. He's a fighter. So even though he knows he can land a jab, even though he's seen that he lands a jab, he's a fighter. He's going to keep pushing forward and try to land the big shot. Set up the big shot.
So I like when he's on his toes like that, bouncing around. Gives him more rhythm to bounce in with that jab. It's not so predictable because he got that bounce going. You don't know if a right hand's going to come, or overhand right, or a hook.
And he can get there.
He's bouncing more in this 9th round, I think, than we've seen any of the previous 7.
Hurts getting into him.
Yeah, no doubt.
Last round,
More urgency, guys, here in round 9.
Yeah. You look at that double jab from Lipinets. I mean, it's getting in there, and then Bone, getting off to the side, landing that 1-2. Beautiful overhand right. That's what he needs to do a lot more, to be more effective in there when he makes his moves and he works behind that jab.
Very, very close fight, but for a guy like Erick Bone, this is a fight where you have losses. You're not expected to win. You need to keep the fight clean. You need to make it very evident that you're winning. He's able to turn Sergey. He's able to get out of the way of Sergey's punches. He's able to land on Sergey, but he hasn't made the fight exactly clean and evident that he's winning. He still gets caught from time to time, and he's getting hit with the bigger punches.
Which brings me to this. Who is winning this fight going into round 10?
Step back.
I think Lipinets is winning. I give him the edge because he's landing a lot more power shots. He's landing some big ones. Every time Sergey, he gets off to the side, he doesn't do anything. He just moves. And like you were saying, Sean, he's, moving away from the shots, just getting out of there and playing it safe. He needs to pick it up a little more, being more active when he makes his moves, to win these rounds.
I tell you what, coming off of his loss against Mikey Garcia, this has to be a very big and impressive 10th round for Sergey Lipinets. And he's stalking, he's stumping the foot now, trying to put Erick Bone in position. Now he's got to throw punches.
Erick Bone has only been stopped once. That was by Sean Porter in that short notice fight we talked about 3 years ago.
And he's doing what he has to do to win the fight. He's punching and he's moving.
Lipinets in his 13th pro fight became a world champion at 140. This is his first at 147.
Now Lipinets is looking for that big shot.
Really doesn't differentiate this from round 1, as this has always been his MO the entire night.
sometimes you make the adjustment too late. Robert spoke on this before, but we see a little bit more bounce. Obviously, a sense of urgency in Sergey Lipinets, but now he's able to get to Erick Bone. If that's an adjustment you make 4, 5, 6. Big punch right there. Big hook.
That was about an inch away from doing major damage.
Yeah, and you make that adjustment, 4, 5, 6 rounds ago, that punch lands way sooner than this.
Now stalking Lipinets, he's landed some big shots. He can come in behind him as we enter the final minute.
Erick Bone looks like he's, in that survival mode in this round, just moving, trying to get through the round.
There was an element of survival the entire night for Bone in his approach to this fight. And it appears he is going to survive, but surviving and winning are two different things.
Yeah, definitely. He makes those moves and he wouldn't fire off them. He would never capitalize on anything. And when he did, he landed nice, clean power shots.
Been a lot of fear on the part of Lipinets. The damage he could take from Bone. Mostly just frustration that it took him so long to get inside.
That's how it goes sometimes. You end the fight with a win, but with a lot of frustration. We'll see.
Nice work, boys. Nice work, Sergey.
Erick Bone survives 10 rounds. Very powerful Sergey Lipinets, who seemed to get stronger and stronger as this one went on. Did Lipinets do enough to go to 14-1? We're about to find out. Erick Bone makes it to the end of this one against Sergey Lipinets, but he took some shots as this one went on.
Yeah, not as much action, I don't think, as we expected throughout the fight, but throughout the fight you had some big punches right there. Sergey Lipinets with a big overhand right. Erick Bone coming back. He landed a good 1-2 throughout the fight, and that was a big right hand right there. And then Sergey ending the fight with a big left hook right here as Erick Bone was on his bicycle. And again, like I said before, that punch was landed because Sergey had the forward movement that he needed to land a big punch like that, which was something he lacked throughout the fight.
Just the 5th time Sergey Lipinets goes the distance. Ray Flores makes it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, we go to the scorecards. Here are your score totals. Judge at ringside, Robin Taylor has the bout 95-95, a draw. Overruled by judges John Basili, who has it 99-91, and Frank Lombardi, who scores the bout 98-92. For your winner by majority decision, Sergey the Samurai